And hello everybody. So we're back again and picking up right where we left off, trying to get the party of adventurers. I think the decision was to try to move them over to Stone Circle with the severed head that we just obtained. Okay, so the path that I wanted to kind of stick with was moving up to the East Bridge, taking the river down, and then moving up to Stone Circle. So we'll go ahead and get that started. So we're at the beginning of the map action phase. Now, I made the determination that I wanted to do a force march, which is a faster mode of travel to get us directly from the crossroads location to the East Bridge. But in order to do a force march, we need to put ourselves into a different stance than cautious, because that's where we are now. We'll actually need to put ourselves in the bold stance. Now we're able to do a force march. So what that means we can basically go from one location to the next location and bypass having to move along the road here. Or usually when you move, you go from location to the road and then from the road to the location. Well, we're bypassing that by doing a forced march. Now, because we did a forced march, we're going to have to take a constitution test. And if we fail that test, then we're going to become fatigued. It doesn't really say in the rules, but I think all party members have to take the Constitution test. So we'll just test each. We'll just test each one of them and see what happens. All right. So both of them right now for their Constitution, they're both at a 7. The Witch Smeller's at a 7. And the corpse burner is also at a 7 because of the fungal parasite from that head there. So they both need a 7 or less on the test, or they're going to become fatigued, which means they won't be able to force march until they rest, or they won't be able to force march again. All right, so we'll do the first test on the corpse burner. All right, so the corpse burner has failed the test, so he is now fatigued, so he's going to get that marker on him. Till recovery. So we'll put that in the recovery section of his card. The next one to take the test will be the Witch Smeller. Okay, the Witch Smeller also failed. So it looks like both of them are going to need to become, or are going to be doing some resting here soon, or they're not going to be able to do any more force marches. So we'll put those fatigued markers into their recovery space, so that's not coming off until the next time they recover. However, we did make it to the East Bridge, so we are there now. So we've done with the map action phase, and then we move into the danger phase. So we're going to draw our danger card and see what happens. Alright, so you glance over your shoulder, certain that you are being followed through your current space. Okay, so what this means is we're going to raise the danger level of our current space. Now, East Bridge here, if you notice, move my guys a little bit, that it no longer shares the space with the fields. It uses the Witch Woods for the danger level. Okay, so the Witch Woods here is going to be increased, so we're going to take that from a 4 to a 5. Because East Bridge itself doesn't have its own danger or town level, it's going to refer to the territory here. So the territory danger level is at a 5, which is a much higher level than it was when we were at the fields. So our chances of probably drawing some encounter cards this time are much, much higher. All right, so let's see what's next on our card. All right, we have 2 numbers that we're going to be consulting. And this, I believe, is going to be an explored path or non-explored. And from where we are, I don't think it's going to be explored because the only ones we actually have done that to is the crossroads. Now, I know that all roads are considered explored paths, which is these brown ways here are not explored. You can't even force march through those until they have been explored. But I do believe that that is an explored icon, but let me check that real quick just to make sure. All right, so yes, the icon in question is an explore icon. So the number that we're going to refer to is this one here, because I'm going to assume since we haven't actually explored that location, then that is what we're going to refer to. If you guys know that any different, let me know, but this is the number I'm going to go with, which is basically non-explored. So 3. We're looking, is the number on the card equal to or less than the value or the danger level value of the territory or the space that we're in. Now, since it's 5, that is yes, the value on the card is less than that. So what we're going to do is we're finally going to be able to consult this chart down here. Now, what this icon means draw one card from the an encounter card for the territory you're in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and draw this is all the lowlands down here, which is blue, so we're going to draw one encounter card, and we're going to do that one first. So we draw one lowlands. Let me show you guys that right here. Okay, so we're going to draw one card over here. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and read it if I can get it focused here. Alright, Prevailing Gloom. Encounter, we're going to resolve this immediately. A canopy of lichen-coated tree limbs blocks most light to this area, while low fog clings to the ground, further obscuring your vision. If the party is in bold stance, monsters in this space have ambushed this turn. Well, this is really unfortunate because we have bold stance because we had to move into this, force march into the space, which put us in bold stance. So that's what sometimes being in bold stance gets you. Alright, so the monsters are going to have ambush this turn. Oh, I didn't even realize this. There might be two different things. Okay, so we'll only resolve if where we're at meets this condition. So where we are at Eastwoods, let me show you that real quick. We do have that tree symbol right here that was on our card. So we are going to be resolving this one. Now, if it didn't have that icon, we would resolve the second part down here. Okay, so now that we've looked at that, there's no other thing on the card that we're going to have to take care of. What this was telling us is that the monsters that we're going to be facing have ambush. So we're going to need to go read what ambush is real fast. So ambush is each adventurer in the monster space must make a perception test. If you fail, you become stunned until the end of the first turn. You only need to make this test once per fight, regardless of the number of monsters with ambush present and regardless of the result of the test. Ambush has no effect after the first round of fight. A monster with ambush that is summoned to the fight late does not force a test. Okay, so it looks like the very first, once we divvy out our enemies, we're going to have to go ahead and make that ambush test. Alright, so this card is pretty much done. There's nothing else that we need to resolve on it. We resolved the first part. The second part does not pertain to us, so we just need to leave that one out. Okay? Making sure that we've done everything. Okay, this is only if the party's in the cautious stance. Okay, so this is pretty much discarded. There's nothing else we need to learn from that. Now we need to go back to consult our danger card here. Now we've already drawn our encounter card, and then we look at this next part here is to say how many adventurers that we have as to how many monsters we're going to draw for the area that we're in. We have 2 adventurers, so we're going to be drawing 3 monster cards. And this is going to be coming from the Lowlands monster cards here. I'll show you that, guys, right here. We'll be pulling from the Lowlands monsters. So 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have some interesting guys here. First we have Goat Brute, which is a berserker. Then we have Black Wizard. He has something called Rally. I think I know what that one is, and I don't like it. And Command Summon. And then we have Weird, which has Curse, Evade, and Pursue. Now, anything that's listed up here on the cards on the top part are called arrival abilities, so we need to resolve those first before we actually divvy those guys out. So we need to go look first at what Rally is. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I remember that one, and I don't like it a whole lot. Wherever those arrival abilities are. Alright, so Rally, if no icons are listed, draw a card from the monster's deck and add it to the fight. Establish this new monster's target and resolve each of its arrival abilities other than Rally. Ugh. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any icons listed, so we're only going to be pulling one enemy from the monster deck. So we're going to be pulling another Lowlands monster for it. So this card was drawn because of the rally. So at this point, we now have 4 monster cards that we're going to have to deal with. Alright, so we dealt with Rally. Now we have Curse. So we'll go look up Curse real quick. Curse is this monster's target must make a magic test. If you fail this test, lose 1 luck and you become demoralized. Wow, that's just terrible. Alright, so now that we know we have dealt with all of the arrival abilities, we need to go ahead and divvy these out to our heroes. Alright, to do that, we're going to look at this icon right here, and this is going to tell us where they're going to go. Alright, so this one wants to go, we'll just start with this one here. This one wants to go to the one with the highest MRL. So the MRL for our Smeller is a 9. The MRL for our Corpse Burner is an 8. So we already know this one is going to be getting the Goat Brute. So we'll put that there right beside her. The Mega Rat wants to go to the highest Agility. Agility 7 for the Corpse Burner. Agility 8 for the Witch Smeller. Okay, so she's got another one that's going to be targeted to her. This one wants to go to the one with the lowest magic. Okay, so the magic for this one is, that's a 6 magic because of that +1 got from the magic card here, or the fungus. So that gives me a 6, but the Witch Smeller has a magic of 7. Okay, so the weird wants to go to the lowest magic. So even though we have that +1, the weird monster is going to be going to the Corpse Burner. And last but not least is this one wants to go to the highest magic. Oh man, I don't know if I'm going to survive this fight with that many people on me. Alright, so that one's definitely going to go to the Witch Smeller here. Okay, we're going to double check everything here, make sure I don't have anything that is going to get me in trouble for putting those there. Okay, so for the curse, remember we needed to this monster target must make a magic test. If you fail the test, lose 1 luck. All right, so because this one got attached to the Corpse Burner and it has curse, which is the arrival ability, it needs to make a magic test. All right, the magic level on here is a 6, so he needs to roll a 6 or less. Okay, and unfortunately rolled an 8, so he failed the test. So since he failed it, as it says in the book, he's going to lose 1 luck. So his luck is now at 0. And he is going to become demoralized. This guy's just not having a good day at all. Alright, so demoralized is... I know I can find it somewhere in here. Alright, so demoralized is -1 MRL. And that is going to go down here into the recovery, because that's not going to come off until he's rested. Okay, so now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, the danger card has been met, or the conditions of the danger card has been met, so we can go ahead and discard that one. Okay, so here's what we're going to need to now move in and start working on is the combat round. Alright, so I've already done actually a couple of things for the combat round. First one was establish targets, okay, which is assign each monster to an adventurer. We resolved the arrival abilities. We already took care of those with the rally and the curse. Then 3 is adventurers take turns in perception order, highest to lowest. Then choosing our combat stances, declaring our actions, resolving an action. Okay? So the first thing we need to do is decide, now that we've gone 1 through 3 on everybody, the first person to take a turn, the one to take a turn is the one in perception order. So perception for our Witch Smeller is an 8, perception for our Corpse Burner is a 7, so the Witch Smeller is the one that's going to be going first. Alright, so now that we've declared that, she's going to choose a combat stance, assault or guard. Now this one is important. Remember, when you're doing an attack and choosing your assault or guard stance, as to what the one power dice that you get to roll is applied to. If you're in the assault stance, your power die can be applied to the attack. If you're in the guard stance, the power die can be applied to your defense. Okay? So for right now, I am going to decide to leave her in the assault stance. So I want my power die to be able to help me in doing the damage. Alright, so we first, we need to declare our action. We're going to attack. I just don't know which one I want to hit yet. Which one of these is... Alright, so this one has... Alright, so the ARM is the armor that they have. And when you do damage to them, the armor is subtracted from that damage, and then the remaining goes to their health. So these two have no armor and 5 life. This one has 1 armor and 6 life. He's going to be the tough one to take down. Now, as far as how much damage they do, that is their attack value here. So attack value 4 on these two guys and attack value 5 on this one. I just don't know which one I want to hit yet. So this one rallies and command summon. I guess we need to go find out what these do real quick, and then I'll just kind of decide on my target here. So be right back. So here's what we got for our abilities on our guys here. It might help me determine which one to attack. So infect is if he inflicts any wounds to me, I'm going to be infected, which means that I will not get to heal when I do my next rest action. That's okay, not too awful bad. Berserk here on this guy means he gets +2 to his attack, so he's actually attacking for 6 only on his first attack. And then after that, everything goes back to normal. This is the one that kind of scares me. Command summon. So if he is still alive at the end of the combat round, he is actually going to... let me see what the summon... If this monster is still alive at the end of the first combat round, draw a monster from the deck and add the monster to the fight. That sounds horrible, because I'm going to get yet another monster added in if I can't kill him. So I think he is going to be my target for this fight. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. And then we're going to... Yeah, we're going to use the... I think it's this one here. The attack card here. I was just trying to read something on the Witch Smeller's nose. While there is a heretic or witch monster in your space, you are immune to ambush. Okay. Alright, so I now think that we've got pretty much everything covered that we needed to. We've handled all the arrival abilities, and we've made sure everything's good as far as getting the enemies assigned and walking through our actual combat steps. So we've established targets, we've done the arrival abilities. Now adventurers take their turn in perception order. I was trying to look that up just a second ago. The perception order for Corpse Burner is a 7. The Witch Smeller was an 8, but since she is half blind with the -1 perception, I had to make sure to put that token there to remind myself about that. What we have here is both of our heroes have the same perception. So if they're going in perception order, it's pretty much we just determine which one we want to go first. In that regards, I'm going to go ahead and have the Witch Smeller go first, so we can try to knock some of these guys out and hopefully kill out this guy that has the command summon, because at the end of the round, he's going to be bringing another guy back on the board. So fingers crossed, we're going to do well and hopefully take care of this guy. Alright, so now we're actually going to do the attack. I'm going to declare the target, which is our next... actually, no, sorry. We need to find out which stance that we're going to be in. Either the assault stance or the guarded stance. As nice as a guarded stance would be right now, because we'd be able to apply our power dice that we roll to our incoming damage, try to negate some of that. I probably want to stay in the assault to try to do as much damage as possible. So when we do that, when we roll our power die, If we're in the assault stance, the power die can go towards the attack. It can actually, if we roll low on the test dice for our highest die and higher on the power die, we can actually use the power die for the attack instead. Now, if we're in the guarded stance, it's the opposite of that. When we roll our defense dice, if our highest die wasn't really good enough, but our power die was a higher roll, then we take the power die instead. But I'm going to go ahead and keep myself in the assault stance and hopefully get a good attack number that we can use. Next thing we do is declare our action. We're going to be doing we're going to be attacking this guy, so we're going to be using our weighted pistol here. The stat we're going to be using is this right up here. This is it's a perception test ranged. This is going to ignore 1 armor, but if we roll 12 on the attack dice, we cannot use it again during this fight. Alright, so he doesn't have any armor, so it's not helping us there, but it is nice because we're using perception for the attack, which is better than my strength of 6, which is just the regular attack down here, and it's like pistol whipping the guy or something. So we will use perception on that. So we're looking for a 7 or less for the perception test because I'm -1 on it. Now, as far as the defense goes, we're rolling against our agility. How the attack works, or how combat works, is the attack that you're doing and the attack that the enemy is doing is happening simultaneous. So you basically roll all of your dice at the same time, and then you take the result of that. So we'll go ahead and do that. So the green dice are going to be for the defense test. The orange dice are for my combat test. And the power die is going to be applied to the combat since we are in the assault stance. So we are attacking the black wizard, so we're going to go ahead and roll everything here and see how we do. Alright. Okay, so this is good because we rolled a 2, so we're definitely successful for our perception test, which is what the weighted pistol is using. And here's a perfect example of the power die. Alright, so since my attack was successful with the double 1s, we take the highest die for our damage, which is a number 1. That is absolutely nothing to do damage to this guy because he has a health of 5. Alright, but that's where the power dice kicks in. As you can see, we rolled a 6, and since we're in the assault stance here, I can use the power die for my damage instead of the highest die roll of my test.
Alright, so before we get going down any further, I wanted to cover a couple of things that I think Matt missed. Now, for those of you who were actually lucky enough to see my mess up video that I posted not too long ago, you got to see a little bit of a blooper. So congratulations on that. It was brought to my attention that I did make an error in that video, one that I'm going to clean up here. I really won't go too far into that error, but there is one thing I wanted to clear up, and that is with the witch smeller herself. Now, she does have the witch smeller's nose, which is states that while there's a heretic or witch monster in the space, you are immune to ambush. So this one right here is a heretic and witch. So this means that the ambush effect that we were suffering from the encounter card where everybody had ambush, she actually is immune to that. So she does not get ambushed, so she was not stunned. So I did take that condition off of her, and since she's not stunned, she will be able to use the power dice. Now, we rolled for our tests, and the values we got were, we passed on our perception test with a double 1. Our, if I can find that, our normal attack value would have been 1 just from the highest die that we got, but since we were able to use the power die and we rolled a 6 on that, we actually can use that for the damage. Now, the first thing we do is, since the damage given and the damage received is done simultaneous, we kind of total up, we look at our what we were able to block as far as damage goes. Now, she rolled a 4 and a 1, so she did pass her agility test for this. So the highest amount of damage that she can block is 4. That'll be 4 from each of the enemies here. So this one does a total of 4. This one does 5 with infect, and this one does 4. So she was able to block, but let me check Berserk real quick, make sure I'm not forgetting something. Berserk, the monster gets +2 on its first round in a fight, unless it is dazed. Alright, and then it goes back to normal. So for Berserk, this one actually attacks with a 6, and so that means I was block 4, so 2 points of damage came in. This one hits with 5, so 1 point of damage came in. So this one would be 3 points of damage total that I did take. My little counter here. So let's see, 3 points of damage. 1, 2, 3. So she's down 3 points. And with infect here, this is if I get damaged at all, then I become infected. So we need to go ahead and pull that token real quick. With this token, you cannot do any wound recovery. So when she actually does a rest action, she cannot heal any wounds until this status condition is taken off. So we can't let her get too far down on the wounds here, or we're going to be in big trouble, because if we can't get her healed up, then she'll be out. She'll be done. Alright, so now that we've totaled up all the damage that came into us, now we can see how much damage we put out to our target. The Black Wizard was our target, and now I did 6 points of damage because of the power die. And they only had, this one has, the Black Wizard only has 5, so the Black Wizard has been destroyed. Now it's good that we took care of the Black Wizard, because it has the summon ability right here, which means they would have been able, or it would have been able to bring in 1 extra enemy if it was still alive at the end of the round. So good thing we didn't have to worry about that. That was one of the things, the big things I messed up in the last video, was I thought that I was not able to use the power die because I was stunned due to the ambush ability, because I actually did take the perception test and failed it. But since she's immune to ambush, she's not stunned, so she can use the power die, so we're in much better condition. Alright, so now that we're done with her, we can move on to the Corpse Burner. Now the Corpse Burner has just 1 that he is engaged with, and for the Corpse Burner, this one does an attack of 3, so I'm not super worried about putting him in the guarded stance. I'd rather put him in the assault stance and make sure his damage is good. So we'll go ahead and roll that. So we're going to roll the, this is our strength test for our grave shovel here. We'll look at that real quick. Once it'll focus, the attack is a strength test, and there's really nothing else that it does. So we'll make the strength test, which is an 8, so we're looking for an 8 or less. As far as my agility, it's a 7, so we're looking for a 7 or less on the green. And the power die will be applied to the attack here. So we'll go ahead and roll that and see what we get. Okay. For our attack, we rolled a 7. So this was a pass on the strength. And for as far as the damage doing, move that up a little bit. As far as the damage we're doing on this one, we'll be doing 5 damage. We rolled a 6 for our agility, so we did pass. And I'll be able to block a total of 3 damage coming in from each creature. I am only engaged with 1, so this one does a total of 3 damage, so that means I was able to block all the incoming damage. I did 5 damage to the creature, so this one has a total life of 4, no armor, so this one has been defeated and it is in my trophy pile. One thing I did forget to mention, their specials here for each of the characters. This one is, when you win a fight, if you destroyed any undead, make a morale test and gain 1 luck if you pass. Unfortunately, this is not an undead. Can't really focus on that, but yeah, this is not an undead, it's just a weird. So he does not get to roll for his luck or morale, but this one, I need to read hers to see if she'll be able to roll for this one that she killed. This one is if you win a fight, if you destroyed any heretics or witches, make a morale test and gain 1 luck if you pass. Alright, well that's pretty good because my morale is 9, and this one is a witch/heretic, so this one I will be able to make a morale test on. So we're going to do that real quick with these green dice, see if we can get a 9 or less. Yes, 7, so my luck is going to go up by 1. So we now have 2 luck. That'll come in handy if I need to make any re-rolls for the fights. All right, so now that we've finished out a full round of combat, we need to make sure that we're handling all the after or the end steps or resolve abilities and effects that occur at the end of the round. All right. So as far as the end of the round goes, they did not have any conditions that applied to them only one round. Everything that they have, like the fatigue, the infected, demoralized, those are conditions that stay with them. I believe the demoralized. Let me look at curse real quick. That's where he got that one. Curse is the monster's target list. If you fail, you lose 1 luck and become demoralized. Okay, so it doesn't have a duration for the demoralized status, so that one's going to stay with me. Same thing here. There's no status conditions on her. That's only at the end of the round. As far as the creatures that are left, there's no end of the round conditions. The berserk is during the fight, and infect is if they get wounded. And the berserk goes away after the first round. So now we circle back to another combat round. So the first thing we do is establish targets. This one still wants to go to the highest agility, which is the witch smeller. This one is the highest morale, which is again the witch smeller. They both can act first because they're at the equal perception values. So basically I'm choosing which one I want to act first. I'm going to choose the witch smeller to act, but I am going to put her into the guarded stance. And by doing this, this will allow me to use the power die to block the damage coming in if I pass on a low roll for my agility, or if I fail altogether, I can actually use the power die to block the attacks from one incoming creature. Because if I fail, that's a total of 9 damage coming in. That's way too much for me to have to deal with. All right, so I probably would like to go with since I'm already infected, I can't get any more infected. I'd like to make the goat brute my target, and the reason why is because the weighted pistol, if we look at the special text, is this attack ignores 1 armor, but if we roll a 12 on the attack dice, you cannot use it again during the fight. All right, so this one has 1 armor, so I will be able to apply damage directly to the health of the creature. So this one is going to be my target. We are in the guard stance, so we're just going to go ahead and roll and see what we get. Remember, we need a perception test, which is going to be a 7 or less on the orange die. Agility, we need an 8 or less on the green die, and the power die, we'll just see what goes on there. Okay, this is what I was talking about. We rolled an 11 for the agility, which is a fail. So I can't block any incoming damage, but since I was in the guarded stance, I can block 5 incoming damage from one of the creatures. And as far as my damage goes here, I rolled a 9, which was a fail. So I did not do any damage, and I can only block 5 damage from one incoming creature. So the incoming creature that I'm going to be blocking the damage from would be this one that attacks for 5. So this one here that attacks for 4 is coming in here. So I'll take another 4 points of damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we move on to the corpse burner's turn. So right now we are in a really, really good position because the corpse burner does not have anyone engaged with him. So he is actually able to, on his turn, make a free attack against one of the enemies that are engaged with the witch smeller. Now, I did confirm this, and I wanted to give a big shout out to Eric Ratty. You might recognize his name as one of the designers of the Dungeon Degenerates. I've been talking with him, just had some questions on the rules because it did come up, because I was actually under the impression that, you know, whenever you made an attack, you were also rolling your agility for any incoming damage. Well, that actually does not have to be the case, because the monsters are only going to attack who they are engaged with, as long as they don't have like a attack all symbol on their cards. These targets are locked into the witch smeller unless her stats change and cause them to go to another target during the established target phase. Yada yada yada. Corpse burner doesn't have anybody engaged. He can use his attack to attack one of the enemies here for free. He can stay in the assault stance and not worry about taking any damage. So hopefully this will go very, very well for us. All right, with that said, I probably would like to try to throw in some damage to the Mega Rat. He only has a life of 5. So we will roll our damage, our strength test, and our power dice since we're going to be in the assault phase or the assault stance. Not that great. We did roll a 5, so we did pass the strength test. Now my highest dice was larger than the power dice, so we're just going to go with this one here and do 3 damage to the Mega Rat. So we'll put 3 damage on him and weaken him up for the next round of combat. So now what we're going to do is we're going to finish that round of combat and start another one. And we establish targets. Nobody's moving around. Nobody's come in on the board new. So the only thing left now is basically start the Witch Smeller's turn and see if we can get some better results than we did last time. Keeping her in the guarded stance because that's a lot of incoming damage that I'd like to try to avoid. We'll just go ahead and roll. Our target is still the Goat Brute, so hopefully we can roll good on the test. So let's see. Not really. We did pass the perception test. We did 2 damage, ignoring 1 armor because of the weighted pistol. So 2 damage goes in on the Goat Brute, so we can go ahead and mark that with some damage tokens here. That's not bad. It's not too awful bad. Now we did pass the agility test with a 7, so I was able to block 5 damage from each creature. This one does 4 and this one does 5, so I was able to take no damage on that. Going up to the Corpse Burner here, we're going to go ahead and choose back our same target again to hit, staying in the assault stance, and see if we can take him down. All right, we're looking good. So we got a 4 and a 1, so we passed our strength test, which was for the shovel here. Our power dice is the same as our highest dice here, so 4 damage came in. We only needed 2 to kill him, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I believe since I made the kill, this becomes my trophy. I might have to clarify that later, but that's the direction I'm going to go in. Alright, so now we only have 1 person left, which is the Goat Brute. Actually, that finishes that round of combat. So we just circle back around and start another round. This one, we're skipping the established targets because nobody's changed any stats. So now what we're going to do is...
Sorry about that, had a little bit of mic problems. Okay, so we're starting a new round of combat. There's skipping the established targets because nobody's changed any stats. I'm opting to take the Witch Smeller out of... Actually, one thing. The test here that we were making for trying to bring up our luck is only on undead, and the Mega Rat is not one of the undeads. I don't think we have any undeads here, so getting any luck on him for the kills is not going to really happen this round. So we're starting back at the Witch Smeller. I'm wanting to put her in the assault stance because the incoming damage is only 4. I feel pretty comfortable, even if I fail to test, that we should be okay. So we're going to go ahead and start now and just roll our tests. Better. Okay, so let's start with the agility. We got a 7, so we passed. I can only use my highest die to block the damage. However, I rolled a 4. This one does 4, so I blocked the incoming damage. I rolled a 8 on the perception, and unfortunately that is too high because my perception is a 7. I could try to use a luck to re-roll that. However, I might try to use my Corpse Burner here to do damage. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep my luck that I have, and I'm going to give the next attack, I'm going to give it to the Corpse Burner. He is staying in the assault stance. Okay, he rolls very well on the strength test, gets a 6, did 5 damage incoming. The power die doesn't do us any good. So one of the points of damage gets blocked because of the armor 1. So 4 points of damage come in.
which gives us a total of, looks like 6 damage has been done to him, because 4, 5, and 6, so that means this creature is gone. Unfortunately, since the Witch Smeller didn't get the kill for it, I can't roll for luck on her, but this one is not a dead or any undead anyway, so the Corpse Burner can't get that one, because I believe the trophies stay with them. That's the end of the fight. Now we have a few things that we need to do to kind of clear at the end of the fight, and we'll go through those now. Alright, so now what we're going to do to go ahead and end the fight is read from the Party is Victorious. So we're going to reduce the danger level in our space. Now this is only once per game turn per space, even if you win multiple victories in a turn. So we're only going to, this was 1 win, so we're going to lower the danger level in our space. Now we're on the Witchwoods here, or this is our danger level that we refer to. So that's going to go from a 5 to a 4 back down to its default amount. So that's pretty good. That means we're a little safer when drawing our encounter cards. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at loot. Okay, so for the adventurers that weren't defeated and didn't escape may collect rewards and potentially loot from monsters they destroyed. So we're going to go and look at that. So if we win a fight, we may collect the rewards in form of XP and gold possibly. So we're going to look at all of our monsters that we took care of. First with the Witch Smeller here, and then we're going to look at the top of the card here to see what we got. Now, oh, sorry about the focusing here. With this one at the very top, it says right here, this is a 2 XP and 2 gold points. So we're going to go ahead and set those on the Witch Smeller's card. 2 XP, so we're going to go from the 9, I think that's where she was, right? These get moved around sometimes. So these 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so here's where it started. She gets 2 XP for the kill, so that brings her to 11. And then 2 gold points, 1, 2, for the one that she killed there for her trophy. Okay, we'll set that by here because we're going to need that again in just a second. Now we're going to total up all these for our Corpse Burner. This one is a 1, 1, and 1, so 3 XP total. So this one goes 1, 2, 3, so he's at a 17. He really needs to spend that for some skills, which we may look at here in a minute. And then for gold, 0 on this one, 0, and then 1. So he only gets 1 gold. So I mean, as far as XP and gold, those actually spread out pretty evenly, which was nice. Now the next thing we do is we look to see if we're going to draw any loot cards. Now how we do that is we're going to make a loot roll. We're going to roll a d6 for each one of the characters that killed a monster. And if the roll is equal to or less than the total XP earned from the trophies, then we're going to get to draw a loot card. Okay, so for this one here, we have a 2 XP. So when I make my d6 roll, it has to be equal to or less than the total XP. So I have to roll a 1 or a 2 in order to draw a loot card for the Witch Smeller. Draw the 4, so I'm not eligible to do that. Now, as far as the Corpse Burner goes, we did 1, 2, 3, so I have to roll a 3 or less in order to draw a loot card. Okay, I rolled a 6, so unfortunately no loot cards will be able to draw on for this fight. So these are all going to be discarded. There's no longer any reason to hold them, so they're all going to go back into the pile for the Lowlands monsters. And we have to make sure to keep them all together because at some point if we run through the deck, then we'll have to shuffle the ones we've killed plus those ones that had the XP value 3 on them. So at this point we have some decisions to make. We're all done with the combat round. We're all finished with that. What I need to think about doing for my party is maybe a little resting. And the reason why is because I'm demoralized, fatigued, so I can't do any force marches. And with the Witch Smeller, I'm fatigued and infected, which means I cannot do any wound recovery until I get that infected condition off of me.
So as much as I want to, once we're starting a new map action phase, to try to get down river here to do something, once I do that, if I travel down river here to the, I believe is the Dusk Falls location right here, then I'm using the territory which says Tomb Lake, the territory danger level, which as you can see is a 4. That's the same danger level as where I am currently at the Witchwood. So being here and doing a rest action or being in Tomb Lake and doing a rest action is it's the same thing. I would just be a little further down the line, getting closer to my target here of Clue 3. So we're going to start a map action phase, and we're going to set ourselves, I want to put myself kind of in the guarded stance for right now. We're not feeling that bold because we just got done with a fight that did leave us quite damaged and bruised. So we didn't take any damage with the corpse burner. He's doing well, but the witch smeller does have some problems that we need to address. So for this one, the map actions are going to be resting. Now resting doesn't require a stance, but I just wanted to be in the cautious stance just in case of a event that we draw might be more beneficial to be in that stance. So we're taking the rest action. Now the first thing we do in a rest action is recover. Recover. Make a morale test to remove wounds and then remove status conditions. So the corpse burner does not need to remove any wounds, but he does have some status conditions that we will be removing. So we are going to go ahead and go in morale order. And morale for the corpse burner is an 8. The morale for the witch smeller is a 9. So we're going to start with her, and we're going to do a morale test. So the morale is 9, so we're looking for a 9 or lower. It's pretty good that she's going to be able to recover here. All right, 6, 7, 8, 9. We did pass the test. Now, if we pass the test, normally, if you pass the test, you would be able to recover wounds equal to half of your current MRL. Now, that means we'd be able to recover, rounding up, which is the game wants you to, we would be able to recover 5 wounds. But since she is infected, the only thing that we can do is remove the status conditions that we have on our sheet here. So she's no longer fatigued, and she's no longer infected, so those status conditions can come off of her. Now, also, if we were to fail the test, we would not be able to recover any wounds, but we would still remove the status conditions that we have on there. If we failed, couldn't recover health, we still remove those. So that's a good thing. Now that the witch smeller's done, we do have some other things that we can do because she's still in this rest action. So we don't want to explore because exploring, investing, and trading are our other actions that we can do when we're recovering. So like I said, once we've recovered, we have all of these here that we're able to do. Now, to do the explore, the invest and trade, you have to be in the bold stance. And for those, you have to either be in a camp or a settlement, or a town for trading, a settlement for investing. So really, the only one that we have open for us to do is improve, which is spending XP to learn a skill, or mastery. All right, so generally, how that works, I'll show you here, is you spend the XP. You can either improve a existing skill that you have. See, this one is 8 XP to improve, which would make it the mastery version. You could use it for that, so that would be 8 XP, and currently I have 11. Or you can say, I want to gain a new skill. So in order to do that, you would have to go find all of the skills here and see which one you would actually want to purchase, starting with the lower side of the card. Now, a lot of them here will say, like here, it'll cost 8 XP to buy it. It'll also cost 8 XP to upgrade it. And some of them have the required fields down here, so if you don't meet the requirements, you can't buy the skill. Now, what do I want to buy? Well, that's a great question. There's a lot of skills in there. I don't really know
Maybe something that ups my perception would be a nice thing, because I'm blind. Now, unfortunately, there's actually a nice thing on the back of these cards that tell you some suggested skills to have, and I'd really like to get to that, but it's going to take me a second because I'm going to have to remove all these and then show you what's on the back of her card. Alright, so for the Witch Smeller, you know, we do have our skills that they start with, we have our items, but then it'll also tell you here, if you read the stuff, suggested skills and suggested weaknesses. Now, suggested skills are probably some things that we want to pick up later on during the game because they will complement her class very, very well. Another thing here, and we didn't really touch on this one, but we do see that suggested weakness, okay? The beginning of the game, we drew our weaknesses at random. Now, you have a choice that instead of drawing your weaknesses at random, you can actually choose the one weakness that is for the card there. So you wouldn't be drawing random, you would just be picking the one that's suited for this character. So let's look at Inquisitor and Warding real quick. See what those are about. Alright, so Inquisitor here is your attacks inflict +1 damage against demons and heretics. The mastery is they attack +1 damage, demons, heretics, warlocks, witches, wizards. Not bad. Okay, and what was the other one? Can't even keep things straight in my head. Warding. Okay, let's go look at Warding. When you take damage from a demon, reduce that damage by 1. That's not bad, not bad. The mastery of it is the same thing here, but then when we pass a defense test, with doubles, inflict 1 piercing damage to each demon targeting you. Wow, that's strong. Alright, so I'm going to look through these real quick because I would like to take one of these and see if I can up the skill of my Witch Smeller here. Looks like I'm going to go with the Inquisitor. So my attacks are going to inflict +1 damage against demons and heretics. So 10 XP is going to be what we take off. Oh, I've got to move all my stuff back down here. Alright, so we start at 11, so I only have 1 XP now. And then we'll get all our stuff added back to the sheet here. 2 luck, 7 damage, 8 gold, 14 life. Move our other tokens here. We are blinded, so -1 perception. Still being cautious. And don't have any other conditions on us. Alright. So now we're going to move on. This is all that we're going to be able to do. So we've completed the rest action for the Witch Smeller. And now we'll move on to the next person in morale order, which is our Corpse Burner here. Corpse Burner is going to take a morale test and see if we're able to... I guess it really doesn't matter because even if we failed or passed the test, we don't have any wounds on us. So we're going to go ahead, since we've done the rest action, we're going to go ahead and remove the fatigue and demoralized, which is -1 MRL. I can't even remember if I've been taking any morale test on this one that I did -1 MRL. Crap. If you noticed that, let me know in the video. I don't think I've taken any morale tests for him, but doesn't matter anymore because those conditions are off of us. Alright. For him, it's the same thing. Since we're incautious, we can't do anything besides improve. He's got a lot of XP, 17 XP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the back of his card and see what they actually recommend for him. Alright, so for the Corpse Burner, we'll look at that real quick. Looks like our suggested skills are Black Market and Shrug Off Pain. Alright, so let's go look at those real quick. Black Market and Shrug Off Pain. And let's see what we find. Shrug Off Pain. You are immune to annoy and pain. Okay, I haven't really come across those yet. Let's see what those are. Annoy
is if you are being targeted by this monster, you must use guard stance. It's not the most terrible thing in the world. Let's look at pain. When you receive one or more wounds from this monster, you must take a Constitution test. If you fail, you become stunned until the end of the next turn. That's pretty important. I don't like being stunned. Taking that power dice away is pretty major. That's not a bad card. Let's look at its upgraded ability. You are immune to annoying pain while you are blessed. You are invigorated. You may use Constitution for your defense test in place of agility. Constitution is 8. My agility is 7. So this actually does seem pretty nice. I wonder if I could get it and upgrade it at the same time. That would be 16 XP. I could go off. I could get this one, but maybe it's only one at a time. I'm not sure if I could buy this and upgrade it at the same time, but let's hold that one there. I kind of like that one card. And the other one was Black Market. So let's see what Black Market is. Draw a card from the loot deck. If it is an ally, item, or service, you may purchase it for normal cost. So you have to be bold and add a settlement for that. I don't think I've come across any allies yet. I don't know. That's a tough call. This one's kind of high up on my list right now. So let me look through the cards and then we'll see what we go with. So I think I'm gonna go with the Shrug Off Pain. I looked at all the other ones and this one just kept coming back to me here. So we're gonna go with Shrug Off Pain for 8 XP. We started at 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so that's the amount of XP I have left. Now, it did state in the rules that when you do your rest actions, you can do any of the actions that are shown here. You could any or all of them if you want to, but you could only do them once. So since I've already taken the improve action, I cannot do I can't do it twice. So I can't go from being a regular skill to a mastery skill. I would have been able to take Burly from that skill to a mastery, but not buy a card and then take it to mastery. So let me get everything reset up here, and then now that we're done with that, we'll be able to choose well, not choose, we're going to go ahead and draw the encounter card and see what happens. Alright, so now that we got everything set up, we're going to go ahead and complete the map action phase and then move into the danger phase and see what happens to us. Alright, so danger card. That's not good. So current space is going to go up. Current space being where we just brought this guy down. So to a 5, and from a 4 to a 5. Alright, now we're going to look at this symbol right here, which is metaphysical or non-metaphysical space. We are in a non-metaphysical space, so it says this is the one we're consulting. So if the danger level is at, the danger level of the card is at or less than the level of the space, then we draw a card. Now it's at a 5, so it being at a 6, this is really good because that means it didn't meet the conditions of the card, so we don't draw our encounter or any of the enemies, which is really good because I could use a break. That fight kind of went on longer than it had to. Not the one particularly in this video, but I've had to run that fight a couple of times because I've gotten a lot of things wrong with it. Alright, so now we finished that phase. Now we skip the last one, which is the encounter phase, because there was nothing to do there. And now we decide, okay, what do we do now? Alright, so it was my original plan to travel down this river here, which we can do. We can go from the East Bridge, and since we're on a this is a river port travel, so we go from East Bridge and then we'd end up at Dusk Falls down here. But the thing to do is we'd have to put ourselves into bold stance to do it, as says here on the card.
and we'd have to pay 2 gold per adventure. So we're going to have to shell out some dough for that. The other negative to this is the weakness of my witch smeller. When I lake port travel or river port travel, I become demoralized. And remember, demoralized gives us a -1 MRL. Alright, so we won't get that taken off until we do another rest action. Now with her, I know I almost want to do another rest action before another fight, because remember, she still has wounds on her that we weren't able to recover because she had infected on her. So probably still need to do a rest no matter what. I don't like the pathway through here because of all of the law spaces here. We'd have to draw from the law deck, or consult the bounty level, I should say. So I really want to keep off of those roads, going from here, so taking this road here and then getting onto the paths to get ourselves here. So I want to take a quick shot, see if I can take a quick shot down to Tomb Lake and get us there. Okay, so in order to do that, we need to set ourselves in the bold stance. So we're going to go ahead and set our guys here from cautious to bold, because we have to do that in order to do the Lakeport travel. Now there was the destinations that we can take, and I'll show you that here, because we are at the West Bridge here. I'm trying to find these. Maybe these are the wrong locations here. Oh, I keep saying West Bridge. It's actually East Bridge. Okay, so we can go from the East Bridge to Dusk Falls or Fishmonger Camp. Now down here, the Fishmonger Camp is right here, so if we took the river down here to get to there, we'd end up here, but we want to take it to Dusk Falls, so we can do that. So we take the map action phase. That was our action, was to get in the bold stance, paying 2 gold per adventure. So this one's going to go from a 8 to a 6. And up here, he is going to go from a 7 to a 5. So 2 gold have been paid. They make their way down the East Bridge, or from East Bridge down to Dusk Falls here. Alright, so now we've made it there. We've gotten a whole lot further than we were before. That was a very quick travel for us. I kind of don't want to put them on their side there. It's kind of hard to see. So now what we're going to do is draw the encounter and see if anything bad happens. Now remember, we're at Tomb Lake, so we're actually doing a little better than being in Witchwood, because this one went up in the danger phase. Tomb Lake is still at a 4, so it's a little better to be down here. Danger level isn't as high. So now that we've taken our move, we go into the danger phase, draw our danger card, and we see here that Witch Hill is what is going to be increased. They say the moonlight, you can see spectral witches dancing and crackling in the ghostly flames high atop haunted Witch Hill. Alright, so Witch Hill is right here. That goes from a 5 to a 6. So thank goodness we got out of there, because that would have been a whole bad area to be in just now. Alright, so now we have the law symbol here. The law is 5, so we're consulting the bounty level, which remember was a 3. If the card value is equal to or less than the value of the number you're referring to, then you draw a card. However, the card's value here of 5 is higher than what the bounty level is, so we're safe. We don't have to draw any encounters or monster cards. Okay, so that one's going to be discarded.